Once upon a time, there lived a young couple in a land far, far away. They did not have any children, but they really wanted to have a baby girl. After a short period of time, the young lady was expecting a baby. One day, when she was looking out of the window, she saw a beautiful lettuce garden next door. From that moment on, she could not think of anything else but to eat that lettuce. "I'll die if I cannot eat that lettuce." The lady lost her appetite and lost an enormous amount of weight. Until one day, finally her husband got so worried for her, he promised his wife that he'd bring her a bunch of lettuce.
Don't worry, my darling. I will go and get you some lettuce.
"But you know, it's very dangerous." The house next door belonged to a mighty witch, and the garden was surrounded by big walls, which no one dared to enter. The husband gathered all his strength and climbed the wall, entered the garden, and picked a handful of lettuce. His wife ate the lettuce with great pleasure and felt a little bit better. But unfortunately, a handful wasn't enough for her. The day after, her husband went into the garden again. But this time, the witch was waiting for him.
"How dare you come into my garden and steal my lettuce?"
My wife is pregnant and she craves for your lettuce.
"You could have asked for my permission, you know."
We are all very afraid of you. I didn't think you would allow me. Forgive me.
"Forgive you? You will be punished for this."
If my wife can't eat the lettuce, she will get sick and won't be able to give birth. Please.
Then how about a deal? You take as many lettuces as you want, but only in one condition. As soon as your baby is born, you will give it to me.
Out of fear, her husband immediately accepted the deal. After a few months, the baby was born. Soon after, the witch came and took the baby away. She named the baby Rapunzel, because the type of lettuce the baby's mother had craved for was named Rapunzel. The witch took great care of the girl. When Rapunzel turned 16, she became a very beautiful young girl. The witch put her in a tall tower in the middle of the woods, but this tower did not have a staircase. There was only one small window at the very top. The witch had never cut the beautiful girl's blonde hair. When she came to visit her, she yelled to call her from below.
"Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let your golden hair down. It's your mother, dear."
Rapunzel led her long braided golden hair down through the small window, and with the help of Rapunzel's hair, the witch made it to the top of the tower. This went on for many years. One day, a prince came into the forest to hunt and heard a beautiful voice singing far away from the woods.
What a wonderful voice.
He thought, and rode his horse towards the beautiful sound. As he arrived to the tower where Rapunzel lives, he looked left and then right, but saw no stairs or anything else to climb up the tower. Mesmerized by the beauty of the voice, the prince came to the tower every day but couldn't figure out how he could climb up. One night, once again as he was approaching the tower, he noticed the witch was waiting below.
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let your golden hair down! It's your mother, dear!
Rapunzel let her long braided golden hair down through the small window, and with the help of Rapunzel's hair, the witch made it to the top of the tower. The next day, just after sunset, the prince went to the tower. Changing his voice,
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let your golden hair down. It's your mother, dear.
At first, seeing somebody else other than her mother for the first time in her life, Rapunzel got a little scared. "You're not my mother. Why did you come here?"
There is no reason for you to be scared. I heard you sing and fell in love with your voice. I just wanted to see whom this voice belonged to.
Rapunzel really liked what the prince said and was not scared anymore. For a while, everything went smoothly and the witch did not recognize anything. Finally, one day, the prince asked Rapunzel to marry him.
Will you marry me?
Rapunzel happily accepted this handsome prince's proposal. But Rapunzel did not have any way to climb down this tower. Suddenly, she had a bright idea. Prince started to bring a piece of fabric every time he visited the tower. Rapunzel was tying these pieces together to make a rope. But one day, Rapunzel made a big mistake and accidentally slipped something out of her mouth. "Mother, Prince climbs my hair faster than you do."
Which prince? Which prince?
At that moment, the witch realized that there was something fishy and started yelling at her.
How could you betray me? I was just trying to protect you from the evil of the world!
Not being able to handle her rage, the witch suddenly cut Rapunzel's beautiful golden hair. And then sent her to a desert far, far away. That night, the witch stayed in the tower and waited for the prince to arrive. A little while later, she heard the prince from down below.
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let your golden hair down. It's me, the prince.
The witch let the hair down she cut from Rapunzel. Unaware of what was waiting for him, the prince started to climb. When he came up, seeing the witch instead of Rapunzel, he figured that something very bad had happened. When the witch started to charge at him, the prince stumbled back and fell down from the tower. Thanks to the bushes below, he managed to stay alive. But because of the thorns poking his eyes, he could not see anymore. Blinded Prince kept walking around the forest, looking for Rapunzel with tears in his eyes. He fed himself plants and wild fruits he found in the forest. He walked so far that he finally arrived to the desert where Rapunzel lived. And suddenly something unexpected happened. He heard a sweet voice singing. He recognized the owner of the voice straight away.
This is the voice of Rapunzel.
He started walking towards the beautiful voice. At the same time, he was yelling,
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Rapunzel!
Rapunzel also recognized the prince's voice. My prince! She started running towards him. My prince! Finally, they had found each other. Upon seeing him, Rapunzel hugged her prince and shed tears of joy. Rapunzel's tears wet the prince's eyes. And all of a sudden, a miracle happened. And the prince's eyes opened up. He started to see again. Seeing this, Rapunzel was so happy. Together, they went to the prince's kingdom where people greeted them with joy. And they lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, there lived a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. These 12 princesses lived all together in a big, beautiful room. The king protected his daughters with his heart, and when they went to bed at night time, he did not allow them to go out. But every morning, they would wake up to something very strange. The shoes of the princesses would all be worn out as if they had danced all night long. The king had to buy his daughters new shoes every day. But the following days after, the shoes just kept wearing out. Neither the king nor his men in the castle could solve the mystery of the shoes.
How is this even possible? How can a pair of shoes worn out like that in just one night?
Your Highness, we can't understand.
Finally, the king said,
Whoever solves the mystery of my daughter's shoes will get to marry whichever daughter of mine he chooses, become my son-in-law, and get to be the king when I pass away. But he has 3 days and 3 nights to solve it. Otherwise, he will spend his life in prison.
Many young men in the kingdom and even princes from other kingdoms came to the castle for the job. For days they guarded the door of the 12 princesses' bedroom. But after some time, none of them could solve the mystery. And shoes continued to wear out by the night. Finally, a good-hearted young man also wanted to give it a shot. And so he made his way to the castle. On his way, he met a lanky old lady who looked very poor. My dear child, I'm very hungry. Would you be kind enough to give me a piece of bread? The young man gave all the food he had in his bag to the old lady. She was very happy because the previous men who had passed didn't give anything. The old woman knew that this one was different than the others. So, in return, she gave him a magic cape. Take this magic cape. When you wear it, you will be invisible. When it strikes 12 o'clock at night, put the cape on, be invisible, and get in the princess's room. This way you can solve the mystery of the shoes. But be aware, do not drink what the princesses give you. No, those nasty princesses. The young man took the magic cape and went to the castle. And when he arrived, he said that he was there to solve the mystery of the shoes. First day, when he was keeping guard in front of the princess's room, the oldest princess came out with a glass of lemonade. must be thirsty. We have prepared some lemonade for you. Please, have some. The young man forgot about the old lady's warning and drank it. Soon after, he was very sleepy. He fell asleep, snoring all night in the room that they had prepared for him. When it was morning, the young man stood up in a panic.
I was supposed to wear the magic cape and get in the princess's room.
On the second night, the young man once again kept guard in front of the princess's room. This time, another princess came out with a glass of juice in her hand. The young man was so thirsty while keeping guard and waiting for the nightfall. Without thinking, he drank all the juice that had been given to him. And of course, dozed off once again. The next morning when he woke up, he finally remembered the old lady's words. But be aware, do not drink what the princesses give you.
There must be a sleeping pill in the drinks the princesses give me.
At that moment, the king came next to him.
2 days have gone by and you still haven't solved the mystery of the shoes. If you cannot do it today, you will end up in prison and stay there for the rest of your life.
The king finished his talk and went away. The young man had to solve this mystery today. That night, for the last time, the young man kept guard in front of the princess's door. This time, the youngest princess came out with an orange juice in her hand. But the young man was aware now. He took the glass, thanking the princess, and when the princess left, he poured the orange juice in a pot next to him. This time round, he was standing tall. The night fell and soon it was midnight. The young man put his cape on and at that moment became invisible. Slowly he opened the door and could not believe what he was seeing. All of the princesses were wearing their most beautiful ball gowns, hair and makeup done with their very new shoes. Let's see if the young man at the door has fallen asleep. One of the princesses opened the door and looked outside, and another princess put her ear on the wall. At that moment, the young man knew that he had to make some snoring noises. The oldest princess pushed her bed aside and clapped her hands 3 times. A secret passage opened in the place of the bed. The young man could not believe his eyes. One by one, all the princesses walked inside. And of course, the young man followed. The secret passage was opening to a stairway which had hundreds of steps going down. When they were going down the stairs, at one point the young man accidentally stepped on one of the princess's skirts. Oh, somebody stepped on my skirt! Oh, nonsense. It was probably you. When the stairs had finished, they came into a forest. They went past tall trees with beautiful silver branches. The young man took a branch and kept following the princesses. After another long walk, they stopped on the edge of a river. In the river, there were 12 boats in the shape of swans, and in them there were 12 princes waiting for the princesses. They got on the boats, and the young man got on the last one. The boat seems heavier than usual today, as if another person is on it. Strange. Oh, come on, stop dreaming. When they crossed the river, they came across a big shiny castle, and they could hear music coming from inside. When he looked through the window, the young man saw many people dancing. As soon as they entered the castle, the princesses started to dance. They would never get tired and just kept on dancing. Of course, their shoes started to wear out. The young man could not bear his hunger anymore, so he took a slice of cake on the table and started to eat. The youngest princess saw this. "Hey, my cake! My cake is floating as if someone invisible is eating it!" "Come on, stop it with this nonsense." The young man took a golden cup from the table without anyone noticing. The princesses danced till the morning. Then they got on the boats, crossed the river, walked through the forest, walked up the very long staircase, and finally they came back to their castle. But their shoes were all worn out, once again. The young man was very happy that he had finally solved the mystery of the worn-out shoes. A while later, the king came next to the young man.
Your time is up today. Did you solve the mystery of the shoes?
Yes, Your Highness, I did.
And so he told him everything. The king didn't believe him at first. But when the young man showed him the silver branch from the forest and the golden cup from the shining castle, the king knew he was telling the truth. And so he kept his promise and granted him the right to marry whichever princess he chose. The young man said that he wanted to marry the youngest one. The 12 dancing princesses were clearly not happy because their secret was out now. But the young man and the youngest princess got married and lived happily ever after.